Hello Gears and Gaming fans, KDB here, your Gears Intel host, back for another YouTube video. It's been a little while since our recent podcast episode, but there is a burning question that's been floating around the internet as of late, so I thought I'd jump on for a bit of a chat with you and to feature some of your fan opinions. This burning question that I refer to is one that will not go away as of late, and that is Gears of War E-Day releasing in 2025? Now, of course, we don't have any official information on the release window, but this has also been the subject of many rumours in the last few months, which I will touch on in a bit. But the crux of this video is fan sentiment. As I said, it's you guys, it's some of the community opinion that we have received recently. So what do you, the Gears fam, think? We recently ran a poll on our Twitter to garner some insight and kind of take the temperature of the community. And of course, our corner of the fandom is a small slice, but you know, I know that those of you that follow me and follow Gears Intel are some of the most passionate and committed Gears fans on the internet. So I like to think that it's a nice little representation of what the fandom might be thinking. Just a quick note about the gameplay you're seeing on screen right now. I wanted to get some footage for the video from Gears of War 4 because it has that incredible opening prologue sequence where you've got the Pendulum Wars and E-Day and Anvil Gate, and I thought, yeah, that would be great footage for the video. But I didn't have Gears of War 4 installed, and rather than reinstall like 100 gigabytes of game, I thought, I know, I'll play it through the cloud. So yes, this footage was recorded through xCloud, which generally works amazing and works fine, but occasionally you get a little bit of buffering, a little bit of screen glitchiness, so I do apologise for that. But yeah, it's not your internet, it's not the game, it's me and xCloud. I do apologise if I sound a bit stuffy today. Just before I started recording, I have huffed one of those nose spray things because, yeah, the last 24 hours I've developed a cold. As if my voice wasn't annoying enough, now you have to put up with some stuffy tones as well. Anyway, so in this video I'm going to quickly highlight what we do officially know, what the rumours say, and then what you guys think. And then I'm going to wrap up with my own thoughts and what I'm expecting. 2025 is well underway. The January Xbox Developer Direct is now firmly in the rear view. And we're all looking ahead and hoping we might get some more updates on the next entry in our beloved Gears of War franchise sometime soon. I think it's safe to assume that the most likely time we'll get another look at the game will probably be the Xbox Showcase, which is usually early in the summer. Xbox CEO Phil Spencer recently made it publicly known that he took a trip to Vancouver to visit the Coalition, which reiterates to me that Gears is still very much cooking and Phil doesn't want anyone to forget it. So a quick primer and lay of the land. What do we officially know? And that's the key word there, official. Announced during the Xbox Showcase in June 2024, Gears of War E-Day is a prequel set 14 years before the original game. It explores the harrowing events of Emergence Day through the eyes of Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago, developed by the Coalition with recently confirmed support development from previous Gears support studio and developer of Judgment, People Can Fly. The game promises a return to the series' roots, delivering an intense narrative of humanity's first encounter with the Locust Horde. In terms of release date though, nothing. We don't have an official release date yet. So everyone at this point, I'm sure, has seen the trailer. There was that great interview on Xbox Wire, and we've had a couple of comments here and there from developers about E-Day, and it's all very exciting. We're all very hyped, but they've kind of been quiet since then with no official news, just people maybe inferring from stuff that they've seen online. So yes, that was the official lay of the land, but what do some of those industry rumours and innuendos say? Now, we don't really make a habit of amplifying leaks on this channel, but these are what I'd call more soft rumours and essentially just the word and opinion of some online gaming quote-unquote insiders. So we've had no concrete documents or data, so take everything they say with a massive boulder of salt. And remember, plans change, so any details they do have could be long out of date at this point. So first we have the rumours from Nate the Hate. In an episode of his podcast, prominent leaker Nate the Hate said that he subscribes to the idea that Gears of War E-Day will launch in 2025, potentially kicking off Microsoft's fall/holiday lineup. Nate also said that he thinks a Gears of War collection will also release this summer as a lead into E-Day. His comments, if you listen to them, they all kind of seem to be Nate speculating rather than reporting. And of course he's had a fair bit of accurate insight in the past, so it's definitely an educated guess worth noting. And it's interesting that he seems so confident on Gears of War E-Day coming out this year. So I thought it was important to point that out. And then also we have Tom Warren from The Verge, who had previously reported, I think last year, that Microsoft was aiming for 2025 for a release for Gears of War E-Day. And then he has recently repeated this to subscribers of his newsletter. Again, this seems to be based off information from last year. So as mentioned, plans can always change, and we don't know if this is something that maybe was originally in the pipeline, but then, release dates get moved and video game release dates change kind of quicker than the weather in the UK. So nothing is set in stone, even when it's officially announced. We'll get an official release date for a video game, and then what happens? It gets moved. Just recently, off the top of my head, obviously Avowed got moved, which has just launched for Xbox. Assassin's Creed has been moved twice in the past 6 months. Games are released all the time, so even if Microsoft were to come out tomorrow and say, yes, Gears of War E-Day is releasing October 2025, get hyped, there's every chance that we get to, the summer or the month before, and they're just like, no, we're delaying it. It's something that, as gamers, we're all kind of used to these days. But what does the Gears fam think? What do you lot think? What do I think as well? So, as Gears fans, we've kind of been burnt by leaks and rumours many times in the past, and it feels like we've had carrots dangling in front of us for the past 3 to 4 years. But, fans can make educated guesses just as well as the next insider. So I wanted to know what the temperature of the fandom was recently. And as mentioned, we conducted a poll with almost 600 of you participating. And yes, this isn't thousands of votes, but like I've said, our following on Twitter is almost exclusively those who are big fans of the franchise. Many of you who are tuned into the gaming landscape, so I do like to think of these polls as a decent representation of the feeling of Gears fans out there. So yes, we asked a simple question: do you think Gears of War E-Day will release in 2025? And after 2 days of running the poll, we ended up with 62.7% of you saying no, it will not release this year, and 37.3% remaining optimistic with yes. So as far as polls go, I wouldn't say it's cut and dry. I wouldn't say it's a landslide. Maybe it is a landslide. It's well over half, but I'll be honest with you, when I put this poll out, I didn't expect nearly 40% of people to think that it would be coming out this year. My general feeling was that most people thought, 2025 would be great, but it's probably not. So it's good to see there's a lot of optimistic fans out there. That's cool, I suppose. But some of you gave some replies to give further feelings on the whole situation as well. We have one here from BCAS Gaming who says, my honest guess is 2027. I think we will have a wait but a very well polished game at the end. If they want it to have longevity, they need to perfect all aspects. 5 had very apparent issues and you could see it slowly lose steam after around 2 years. I mean, it's some fair comments. I agree. I'd like for them to polish and perfect the game as much as possible. 5, yes, had some buggy issues at the start, but nothing that made it unplayable to me as a pretty hardcore Gears fan. And, Gears of War has a range of fans out there, I would say. I do think 5 came out at a time where the multiplayer landscape was drastically changing and it kind of missed the boat on things that were becoming popular. And Gears felt very niche at the time and still does, but, we'll see what happens with E-Day. Yeah, you could see it slowly lose steam after around 2 years. I mean, that's fine for a game that wasn't really sold as a live service. I don't think that's a bad thing. They stopped support a couple of years after release, right? Was it 2 or 3 years? I'm not sure exactly. So this is not like Destiny. It's not like Apex or Fortnite. And obviously we did a big multiplayer E-Day chat on our previous episode. Do go and check that out, where we talked about all this stuff with how Gears compares to those big black hole games. So for me to release what is effectively a broad package of single player and PvP that isn't if sold as a live service forever game, 2 solid years of multiplayer I don't think is a bad thing. So moving on, we have Andrew452 who said, I hit yes, but that was an accident. Don't worry, mate. We've received no gameplay, no updates, no teasers, dead silence by the developers, and no release date rumoured. I'd guess 2026 at the earliest. Yeah, this is kind of where I'm landing. I think if... I'm going to touch on this more at the end. I think if Gears of War E-Day was releasing this year, in 2025, I think we'd have seen gameplay by now. Sorry, this cold and my voice is just going the more I talk. Perfect day to record a YouTube video. So yeah, I'm kind of with Andrew here, because think of all the games we've got coming out this year and all the games we've seen gameplay for. It would be weird to me that Gears E-Day's gameplay is kind of kept a secret amongst all that with the big slate that we've already got already. But yeah, we'll see. Marcus Weapon X on Twitter says, I keep saying Twitter as well. You'll know I mean X, right? Let's assume Fable GTA getting delayed, and if that Gears collection does not exist, then maybe this fall. Otherwise 2026. Probably multiplayer before launch. That's interesting. I hadn't ever considered the multiplayer being released separately, but that is definitely not off the cards as far as I'm concerned. How the Gears of War package is sold to us, how it's presented to us between campaign, horde and multiplayer, I am dubious that it's going to be exactly what we're used to in the past, but I would love it to be. I would love it to be that classic package. That'd be perfect for me. But yeah, landscape's changed a little bit. So Fable, yeah, Fable is supposed to release this year. We haven't seen much else of it. Nothing at the developer direct, etc. GTA getting delayed, if it gets delayed. I personally don't think GTA is going to get delayed. I think the amount of time and money that's gone into it, I think they're ready. I know they did like a marketing or investors call recently where they told investors that they're still on board for this year. And they've really got to be confident if they're going to tell investors that. Though, to contradict myself, as I said earlier in the video, games delay all the time, even when they have a release date. So, and if the Gears collection does not exist, yeah, maybe this fall. So, yeah, I'm kind of with Marcus. Like, if a collection is going to come out, that's probably going to come first. Do we think we're going to get a collection and Gears E-Day in the same year? To me, that would be absolutely wild. I feel like there's questions there about how the multiplayer works, and do you kind of bury your own game by releasing them at the same time? Are the multiplayers connected? Yeah, there's lots of questions. So, Stuntman Mike, Death Proof is an incredible film, by the way, an underrated Tarantino movie. Not at all. Gears 1, 2, 3 released this year to get PlayStation fans up to date, and Gears E-Day release in fall 2026. No one's going to release their premiere titles along GTA 6. Yeah, again, this is more in line with my own thinking. I'd love for a collection to be real, and I think if it is a surprise announcement at the showcase and that to be coming out later this year would be fantastic, and that would tide me over for Gears of War E-Day next year. And with all the Xbox games going to PlayStation, yeah, cool. Get people who've never played Gears of War on board with a collection and then release E-Day next year. And nobody wanting to release alongside GTA 6. I mean, yeah, you've got to be brave. At the same time, none of us know the exact date for that game as well. Shadow says, I can kind of see it dropping this year if they end up releasing the Gears of War Remastered collection in the summer to hype up new and exciting fans to E-Day in the fall. Yeah, I mean, that's the same point, but again, you're giving a much shorter time window. Do you really want to dump 3 games on people, especially new fans, and say, quick, play through all of these because we've got the new game coming out in a couple of months or whatever? So I would love the idea, as I've just said, that they're releasing a collection and then following up with E-Day, but I don't know if they're going to do that a couple of months or 2 or 3 months apart. So I mean, maybe they are. Who knows? Dream Mui says definitely not, especially with GTA 6 releasing soon. It would be better not to drop games near GTA 6. High key upset about that, but if we get more news on E-Day, I'll still be happy no matter how long we have to wait. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I would just love some news this year. I'd love to see a new trailer, some new gameplay, and some new insight into the modes we can expect, and then happy to wait until next year for E-Day. And I'm going to play GTA 6 as well, so that's going to keep me busy. Now we have Raw saying, no way, GTA 6 is out this year. Would be silly to release it, in my opinion. Surely others would agree, rather they took the time to perfect it. Struggling to speak today. Yep, I'm in agreement with Raw. Happy for them to take time to perfect it. Just give me more insight to the game this year. I'm happy to wait till 2026. I just want another trailer. Shout out to Raw. Go and give him a follow on Twitter and on YouTube. Gears Garrison says, whilst everyone would want it sooner, we want TC, the Coalition, to take their time in creating it. Halo Infinite lost the majority of its player base fairly quickly due to lack of content at launch. The game needs a variety of maps, modes, customization, and a progression system at launch. Yeah, it definitely needs all of that. I'm completely with Gears Garrison, and I don't think anyone out there, I don't think any Gears fan out there is saying release it sooner at the cost of those things that we want, right? I'm not going to take Gears this fall, if Gears E-Day this fall, if it's not going to have those maps and modes and etc. I want it to be as good as it could possibly be. We only had it announced last year. The history of Gears is, a game gets announced, then it's out a year later, but times have kind of changed with game development since then. And using Halo Infinite as a good example, again, this is another big thing we talked about on the previous podcast episode. And the Halo franchise, I would say, is in a not a bad state. It's in a bigger state of flux than Gears of War is. So, yeah, I'm very, very interested to see how they handle it, because it does need all of those modes. And yeah, I think the sentiment is generally the same. Everybody would like the Coalition to take their time. So let's hope they do. Okay, so what else do I think? As many of you know, I've been a Gears fan and player since the very first game. And as an aging gamer with experience across every generation as we know it, I sometimes think I've got a few bits of wisdom and thoughts to add in situations like this. So loads of great points were raised in the replies. So thank you to everybody who voted and contributed to the conversation on Twitter. The giant shadow of GTA 6 is definitely a big talking point. It could potentially have an impact on the games that release around it. And while I think that is true, it is unclear how much of an impact. We don't know at this point if GTA Online is launching at the same time as the base game, for example. So either way, I think GTA probably has a comfortable 3 to 4 weeks post-release for, of many gamers out there playing it. So it's not like it owns the entire latter half of the year with its release. I think if we were to get an E-Day release date soon, and then Rockstar confirmed GTA 6 is releasing a week later, I do think Microsoft would move it. So, yeah, if we don't have a GTA 6 release date until after the E-Day release date, and they're really close together, I could see, no matter the size of the franchise, no matter how big Gears of War is, I think everyone would get out of the way. So, and we have the precedents for this. They've moved games in the past, like Avowed, like I mentioned. So I think their exact reason that their official reason for moving Avowed was to give it the right release window that it deserves. But I'm sure there was extra dev time going on as well, and that's not going to do the game any harm. It was like 6 months, and I'm playing Avowed at the moment. It's really good. Yeah, so GTA is definitely going to have a big impact. How big that impact is remains to be seen, because what could happen is GTA 6 comes out and it's got the few weeks of people playing the campaign, but maybe the online doesn't come out until a few months later, and then any other games that were releasing a few months later are still going to get hit by the impact of GTA 6. So yeah, I do think it should get well out the way of GTA, but because I'm going to be playing GTA, as I mentioned. Most of you have also mentioned that they want the studio to take their time. And of course, I also agree with this. We don't have any clear details of how long they've actually been working on the game, and as the Coalition hasn't done anything else since Gears 5, apart from help on that Matrix demo thing, right? I think we could safely assume that this game has been being worked on since the latter days of Gears 5, once Hivebusters was out the door, and that was late 2020. So they have had potentially a solid 5 years on this, which is about right for most AAAs, no matter how annoying that is to us these days. So yeah, maybe the game is ready to go. Maybe it's difficult to work out. Obviously, Rod left as well, and they kind of started from scratch. And I remember hearing Rod Ferguson talk about how one of the reasons he left was the work involved to move Gears of War to the new version of Unreal Engine was something that he knew was going to take a long time, and he loves to ship games and he loves to get games out, and so he knew it would be many years before he was able to get a final game out the door, which is why he went and joined Diablo. So 5 years, maybe a bit more. If we think 2026, 6-7 years at most. There was probably some pre-production happening, as Gears 5 was getting out the door, for all we know. So it's had a lot of time in the oven. They've been taking their time. I would say, the last thing I would say right now is that Gears E-Day has been rushed. So, yeah, I'm with everyone. I want them to take their time, but they've had a lot of time. 2026 will be... 7 years since Gears 5. Jesus. Now, also, kind of for me, like knowing everything that I know with the current Xbox slate and the outlook for 2025 and the dates we already have, these are the games we know more about with dates. Fable, for example, I would also be incredibly surprised if E-Day launches in 2025. The slate is so busy. With loads of great games coming out. Does Xbox need Gears E-Day to come out this year? No. We just want it. We'd love for it to come out as soon as it possibly can. But there's plenty of games to play. So I'd be happily surprised if it came out this year. And I'm not looking to be right about this. I actually hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong and somehow they've worked this out that a 2025 release date is right for E-Day. Cool. The sooner I get it, the better. But this year is incredibly busy for gaming, and not only do I think 2025 doesn't need E-Day, I do believe at this point that Xbox does like to add as much dev time as possible to ensure their games are not releasing broken. They've had a few very public banana skins in the recent years, and really ever since Starfield, and I think that, that's a good game, despite what the internet tells you. I think they're making sure their games are as polished as possible. Gears E-Day can have some extra polish time while we're hit with all these other games. There's plenty for us to play out there. And, yeah, again, I've seen people mention the previous release history for Gears where they announce a year before release, but I'm not sure that legacy schedule applies in today's world. I would, again, absolutely love to be wrong, but like most people... More importantly, I just want the game to be the best it can be. And if that means a 2026 release date, I'm totally fine with that. Just give us, Coalition, please give us a decent look at the game this year, and I'll be more than happy. I'll feast on a new trailer and some gameplay insight for another year, while you cook the game and make it as good as it could possibly be, because I have every faith in the Coalition. I know there's people in the fandom that are critical about stuff that they do. Generally, I think the biggest criticisms I see are to do with multiplayer tuning and stuff, but that happens with every multiplayer game. There is some criticisms about the way the story went for Gears 4 and 5, but I think professionally, sort of from a production value point of view, if you take taste out of the equation, like story taste, from a production value point of view, what Gears 4 and 5 did and what they delivered was insanely good. I mean, the Coalition, and I've said this before on the main show and in previous videos, and I know David and Alex agree, the level of production value that the Coalition have put out, their wizardry with Unreal Engine is unmatched. And I think between them and the support of People Can Fly, we have every right and we have every reason to be hyped and think that Gears E-Day is going to be a good game. I know people have their hopes and dreams for what they want the game to be, but from a production standpoint, I think it's going to be a banger, and I can't wait to see more. Is it coming this year? My final thoughts? No, I don't think it is. There's too much else coming this year. Now, is a collection coming this year? Well, that's a question for another day. Right, I've taken up too much of your time. Thank you so much, as always, for watching Gears Intel. You can, of course, follow us on Twitter /X at Gears_Intel. We are over on Blue Sky as well at Gears_Intel. So come and follow us there. I'm trying to build up a bit of a following on Blue Sky as well. You can find us on TikTok. And of course, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give the video a like. We have more plans for the podcast episodes coming very, very soon. We're going to be speaking to some community guests as well. What do you think about E-Day? If you missed the chance to vote in the poll, please let us know in the comments below. Is it coming out this year, or are you happy to wait until 2026? And before I sign off today, I'm going to give a little postscript to this video. I wasn't going to touch on this at all because this news broke basically while this video was close to completion. Unfortunately, yesterday we had the sad news that Peter Jason, the voice actor for Gears of War fan favourite Dizzy, has sadly passed away at the age of 80. Now, just quickly on Dizzy, I think Dizzy, although a supporting character in the games, is by far and away one of the fandom's favourite characters in the Gears of War franchise. So to see that Peter Jason, his voice actor, has passed away is really sad news. And I think his legacy is going to continue to live on through Dizzy. And we did a tweet about it on the Gears Intel account. There's been so many people, so many of you sharing your love for Dizzy as a character, your memories of Dizzy. And yeah, there's been a lot of celebrating in the Gears of War fandom in the past 24 hours about Peter Jason and his work in bringing Dizzy to life, which has been really nice to see despite the sad news. So yeah, the next time you fire up your multiplayer, make sure you select Dizzy to play as, and let's keep the name of Peter Jason alive and the name of Dizzy alive, because yeah, what a character, what a voice actor. May he rest in power. Till next time, remember the fallen.